joining. Fantastic, fantastic time to fantastic, Friday. The market is not as green as we want it to be, but I'm also not like I'm also not worried because at the same time we could get a bounce at some point. I'm pretty happy to see this really sharp decline because if you have this really slow strap down, that means a enter into the bear market. If you get these kind of wicks bum 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 bum, that means there is a lot of in out in out in out. That means that we're basically being shaken out. We're basically getting a lot of traction. So it's still a lot of positive developments, and I cannot believe that the current cycle is ending with such a in such a kind of fashion. I don't believe that is possible. I think that things are looking very, very bullish, and I'm actually very bullish and positive about all the developments that I'm seeing in DeFi. Even in these crazy market movements, we can still see that DeFi is performing, DeFi is alive, it's functioning, it's working. But of course, a lot of people are very much distracted with a bunch of fake things, right? So it's called Ouroboros as a community, as a thing, right? So it's let's say we lived in a world where there's only casinos. So then at some point everybody is losing their money and the thing starts to dump without actually adding real value, right? Clearly real crypto like Bitcoin or ETH or any hard assets or protocols like Curve and Uniswap, etc., Aave, these are things that add value. Those are win-win games. These are positive developments, right? So with that in mind and that at heart, I still feel very much positive about everything that's currently happening. Yeah, so let me open up all the questions and all the list patch sent to me, and I will just open that up. And before I go over the questions, I want to have a little bit of a chat, and I want to make it very open and very interactive and very yeah, these questions I really like. 0x Valentine's, that's a really good question, right? And I really want to make that clear. What we should have done, Patch, if there's Ayurveda research, let me actually share that here. This yeah. Second, YieldNest actually goes way beyond restaking, right? And yeah, your worry, 0x Valentine. Well, maybe Goon, a little bit about the cycle, but yeah, when nobody expected, the cycle ends. Yeah, it's true. At the end of the day, nobody knows, right? It's all, if you're in crypto, it's a risk on asset. Yeah, we're all being pretty optimistic, right? But it's Bitcoin and ETH in general. It's just Bitcoin either goes to 1 million or goes to zero. It doesn't go to zero anymore, Bitcoin, and so it goes higher. It's similar, it goes for ETH. I think ETH is delivering perfectly on the roadmap from an investor standpoint. I see a lot of really positive development, so I'm bullish, right? But it's the cycle and the inflow and the attention. Yeah, you never know. You never know. That's the honest answer. I also don't know. I don't have, I cannot look into the future. But what I do know is that if I look at history and at different different parts there, I do feel positive. But yeah, what is that worth, right? So here there's I just pasted, yeah. So that is definitely something, right? But I've been in crypto for a long time, and I managed, before I did this in the previous 2 cycle, I was managing liquid token funds, and I was helping with, you know, decentralized organizations like Curve and MakerDAO, where I was like just working in crypto, right? And like, it doesn't feel like the end yet, but you're right, like you never know. At the end of last cycle was also hard. But what I always did, what really works, is making a strategy beforehand, right? So I made a very clear strategy. I also wrote down the strategy in an article long time ago. This was even before Bitcoin hit 100K. I think Bitcoin was like 20 or 30K, and ETH was like 1,000, 2,000, even still 1,000, 2,000. And then I wrote my cycle predictions, and I still hold on to that, right? Or it could also be, and that the only danger is, and I will say that, right? So if we as an industry lose our soul, right? We shouldn't lose our soul. Like we shouldn't lose our why are we here? That I'm worried about a little bit, right? So, you know, if the perception of crypto from the outside world is just like it's just a casino, you go in, you do your meme coin trade, you're out, right? If that is the only thing that people think about when they think about crypto, we might be done in crypto. It might be completely over, right? Yeah, and I agree with that. But I don't think most people see it that way. I think there's a lot of smart people in crypto, like everybody here. I think there's a lot of intelligent, hardworking people. You know, like myself, I could easily work for other big corporations and make much more money, or much more, like, you know, I don't get a high income from now working with YieldNest. It's really like a passion for me to build decentralized financial products. And there's a lot of people like me in the space. It's not only me. There's a lot of passionate people that are doing this for a lot of philosophical and moral reasons. It doesn't mean that everybody in crypto needs to be this kind of purist or think like that. No, contrary, it doesn't need to. But at least if we have 100 monkeys like me or other people in the room that understand that we're building this long-term value structures, we're building self-sovereign money layers for the world to be a better place to do commerce with one another without having bureaucrats in between, having financial, complex, advanced financial products normally only available for private banking and private investors and all that stuff, now available for everybody to play around with and to get wrecked on and to play and test. And that's what YieldNest is built for. YieldNest is built to capture all these real things in DeFi, transform it to kind of one capital efficient token, and give everybody the highest risk adjusted rewards, yields. And do that in a way that people can get the token, people get the yield, and they are also able to dive deep, to become part of a sub-DAO and to manage one of the MaxLT products together. And then you get some support from Nest AI, right? That is all that that is all we're working on currently, right? So we have this whole Aragon V2 DAO structure where in the beginning it's going to be quite simple, right? But later on it's going to be much more advanced. I will go in depth into that in a bit, but I hope I responded to, actually, I think the biggest question of that everybody is asking right now is like, are we done, right? It's a very good question to ask yourself, right? And I would say no, we're not done, because we still have a soul. It's not all just meme coins. It's not all just like YOLO, whatever. We're here, we're building real tech, we're spending millions of dollars, and also with YieldNest, millions of dollars, and not it's all spent on audits, on really like a lot of developer, a lot of engineering talent to get to the stage that we are right now. That is not just like vaporware, like Eigenlayer. I'm joking. Yeah. Yeah, we come so far from the past few cycles. I fully agree, Miso Jumper. Like, yeah, I fully agree, right? Because we started in crypto with just like ETH and Bitcoin, and it was just a state machine, right? Like I remember when I was in crypto, it's like, what the fuck? What can I use Bitcoin for? It's just like this ledger where I can write a hash, I can hash some data, right? You know, okay. But we come so far that we built whole lending and borrowing markets. We built automated market makers. We're building like certain stablecoins, derivatives, right? Actually, the whole DeFi market is a derivative market on steroids, right? And we're just getting started because there's a lot of cool mechanics that we're building, strategies we're building. Besides, we only like eigenlayer restaking, which is one of the strategies. But yeah. So yeah, I hope I took away this fear and this like yeah. I hope everybody kind of understands it, right? Like why we are here, what are we doing. I will share a tweet here. Yeah, please like and retweet this tweet. This kind of showcases everything that we're building in YieldNest, right? So I want to segue into that topic next. If anybody wants to keep listening to my rant on the market, but I think we're done with that now, right? Let's move on. Okay, moving into like YieldNest, the TGE, the airdrop, the launch of our governance protocol, and all these steps, right? So what we need to understand here is that we're not just building a shitcoin. We're not launching like, oh, we're launching our shitcoin and we do an airdrop, you dump it, and you move on to the next shitcoin, right? Like, no, we're trying here to build long-term value for everybody that's involved, right? So, and then going back to restaking, right? Like what 0x Valentine's is saying, it's really hard because like, yes, we are a liquid restaking protocol, but restaking, in my opinion, is more than just putting an asset into eigenlayer or putting an asset into symbiotic. Restaking is about making asset capital efficient, right? The reason I assume why everybody is restaking is not only because they're like, oh, I think eigenlayer is really cool, I want to interact with this protocol. You restake because you want to earn more money, right? You restake because you have an asset in ETH or a stablecoin or Bitcoin, and you feel that, okay, I have this asset in my wallet and I can earn a little bit more yield on that. That sounds interesting just from a pure economic perspective, and that's fine. And that's why people do restaking, right? Most of the majority. And then, some of these people are interested, like, okay, what are the risks? How are the products constructed, etc., etc. And that's why I will read it out loud, what I've written down in the chat as well. I see a lot of positive emotions and comments on that, right? YieldNet is pioneering the next generation of restaking infrastructure, addressing execution failures by combining sustainable yield generation with DeFi's most advanced optimization strategies, right? Well, and then our core thesis is simple. Build sustainable yield infrastructure that works today while maintaining strategy flexibility for tomorrow's opportunity, right? That is what we have built with the new max LRTs, and that is what we also want to focus on in the company, right? In the protocol. And basically what that means is that YieldNest is kind of constantly developing all these really cool on-chain strategies, right? We're not gonna go into RWA or all that shit, right? We're just focused on pure on-chain DeFi yields generation. And then we will work with other RWA protocols. We work with restaking protocols. We work with DEXs. We work with lending and borrowing protocols. So we're combining the best opportunities that we see. We build a variable flexible infrastructure so we can also combine certain instruments where, for example, we're working now on a strategy with Spectra and Pendle, where, Spectra and Pendle are a very interesting mechanism to do a sort of leverage the point farming, right? And that's what people know these Spectra and Pendle platforms, protocols for. But these protocols are way more advanced. These protocols can do way more strategies. These protocols are not just built to farm points. These protocols are built to do interest rate swaps, meaning we can lever, we can hedge, we can combine certain yield sources, and that's what YieldNest is doing. YieldNest takes all these instruments and properly activates them in order to generate the max risk-adjusted returns for everybody involved and everybody that holds the asset, right? And we want to do that by combining these strategies, first setting them basically under the protocol, and eventually each like max LST will have its own sub-DAO. And during the airdrop, everybody that's going to stake and the pioneer NFTs will play a role. You will be able to claim your ynD airdrop. You can directly sell it, or you can get into a liquid locker with StakeDAO, or you can like stake your tokens yourself and you get VE ynD kind of locker tokens, and then you can start to participate in governance on like gauges and things where you say like, oh, I want to delegate much money here, I want to delegate much money there, and people that are actually going to interact with the protocol will get more and more rewarded, right? What I really want to be careful for is that a lot of airdrops just give a lot of money to the farmers and the farmers sell and go away. I want to give everybody that so far supported YieldNest protocol very much appreciated. There's going to be an airdrop, people can do that whatever they want, but I want to reward the users that are going to actually stake and participate even more, because eventually these products will need some sort of a like governance overview, right? And I don't know if people saw that, like the AI Nest AI interfaces we're building right now. So Nest AI in the background is getting very advanced. Nest AI is helping us currently with strategy management. It's not like autonomously doing that, because that would be stupid. It's a hybrid form, right? So where Nest AI is going out in DeFi, finds different strategies and proposes certain action rebalancing actions, right? That's what Nest AI already does for YieldNest internally, right? And we're going to open it up externally. So then you could see a potential future where a sub-DAO, for example, ynETHx, will have this own sub-DAO where there is this kind of mission interface where people can talk to the AI, and the AI is going to propose certain actions of like, oh, I think we need to rebalance, or oh, I think I see this new external strategy that we should integrate. Do you want to integrate that? And then the sub-DAO will interact with the AI and improve that kind of flow and management of that, right? And there will be actually, quote unquote, not salaries, but there will be rewards, and there will be you will be able to earn more money by being a self-altruistic figure, by helping out YieldNest in the beginning, by staking your tokens, and then participating in governance, and eventually you can become added to one of these sub-DAOs, and you will be able to manage those products again, right? So that's what we're kind of currently trying to do, and what we're working on. And for the TGE, we just want to start a governance system. We want to start the token and the price discovery of the ynD tokens. We want to open up our governance stack that we've been building on for so long. We no longer want to just like not do that, right? We want to release our partnership with StakeDAO. We want to release our like derivative, like a liquid lockers and all those OG DeFi things from the older DeFi days. They're all very useful, and they're actually much more advanced right now, and we're building on top of that knowledge, right? So that is what we want to release for the TGE. And even if the market isn't some sort of like a bearish momentum, yeah, that would not be good, ideally, right? But as I said, like I do anticipate a bounce or support at some point, and I think the bull market is not over yet. And we want to release, and we want to move forward, and we want to engage with our community and get the token out as soon as possible, because with that token out, it gives us much more kind of like input, feedback. Like we still want to do a little bit of the point system, but ideally, I just really want to focus on pure DeFi. Yeah. So that's most of the updates on that side, and I would encourage everyone to read our new docs and to go over these developments. See if I can share my screen, and we can do a little bit of a docs reading if you guys want to. But so far I talked a lot. Let me see if there's any questions. Well, that's a good question, Koen. It's not everybody needs to be some sort of a DeFi WizKid to become part of the subDAOs, right? That's the beauty of it. The way that I got introduced to crypto was by, I was a software engineer at a bank in the Netherlands, and then suddenly I went to a meetup, and I get like all these papers and all these, all these, I'm also a nerd, but like all these nerds around me also like giving me all this reading material and information, and yeah, that's how I kind of got into crypto, right? And I don't expect everybody in the community to be wanting to do that, but everybody can interact, and actually if you interact in a way that's good for the protocol, you will also eventually gonna be rewarded, right? Because you're part of the growth of a new protocol, you're part of the growth of this new movement, right? And that's besides just and there's a real product, right? Like there's a lot of these protocols that launch and say we're going to do this and that in the future. For me, it was very important to first build a product with like TVL, with like a working income. YieldNest generated over $100,000 of income already, right, on different products that we launched. All that money will just buy back the ynD token. So we still have a really healthy treasury, right? So we are very yeah. We're just going to buy it back. Koen says, like, for me as a newbie, I don't think that would make much sense. But also, well, I actually think it makes a lot of sense, right? So for especially for newbies, like because it's not rocket science, right? It's not easy, right? But it's also not rocket science in order to manage these protocols. It would be amazing if we can, get people onboarded into DeFi, stop staking in CeFi, and grow your brains, grow your wealth, and grow your brain. I mean, that's the best of both worlds, I would say, right? So that's like something that I really want to do. Yeah, let me dive a little bit deeper into that. And there's two things that we can go over. That's the ynD token economics, and the max LRT and the protocol and how it works. Let me see if I can actually share my screen in this interface here. Also, I will just drop a link to the docs and people can check it out. Yeah, it seems to be working. Yeah, okay. So I have just talked about how kind of these what yield, I had that message that I just read, that if you scroll up in the chat, you can see that message that YieldNest goes beyond restaking, and this is about capital efficiency, right? But what does that mean, and how does that look like? Let me show you guys, and please let me know what you think, right? So, okay, this is a user. This is you. Anybody in the community is a user and interacts with one of the max LRT vaults, right? Meaning you make a deposit or a withdrawal, right? But you make a deposit and you basically get the YieldNest max token in return. If you withdraw, you have to send your YieldNest max token and you get your principal assets back, right? I think everybody follows that up top until here. Very simple. It's actually a very straightforward 4626 vault with meaning this is like a vault standard, right? Used in smart contracts, supported by Open Zeppelin, etc. And we made some small but very elegant adjustments, right? In coding, if you want to do something, if it's like very minimal and low amounts of code, that's better. The whole max LRT vault, all the code that is here, it's a little bit more than 1,000 lines. So it's like 1,100 lines of code, and that is fantastic because nobody has done such a elegant and minimal vault architecture before. This is completely new, bleeding edge software and innovation. Then the max LRTs allocate to different underlying strategies, right? So you have the vault and they have strategies. These things are separated for a very clear reason, right? Because in the beginning of our products, our life cycle, we're learning, we're also growing, of course, we built YieldNest ynETH, right? YieldNest ETH. YieldNest Eve is actually a very advanced product, right? Because it takes money, it spins up validators, it's restaking, proving, it's completely permissionless and self-custodial. So this is a very advanced product. If you want to make changes to that, it's pretty difficult, right? And you need audits and all that stuff. So that's why we choose this design. Very simple, top-level vault in a very elegant way, where it can hold multiple assets. So this vault holds like a basket of a lot of different assets, meaning that we can more easily manage all these allocations and strategy management. All right. Yeah, everything clear so far. Just like raise your hand or let me know when you have any questions. Yeah, I will come to that soon, Miso Jumper. Okay, next step is like the enshrined strategies. You can see here this dotted line means that everything in the dotted line is kind of like in the YieldNest protocol, right? So these are enshrined strategies into the YieldNest protocol. And this strategy could be a curve pool on different chains, right? And that's the beauty of this. We built this kind of architecture in a way so it can hold multiple strategies that all sync back to the top level vault in a segregated manner, right? And this is very important because from a security perspective, if you don't have one monolithic vault, and if something gets hacked, you lose everything. No. These strategies are all isolated and have 24/7 monitoring. And if any of these strategies shows any sign of weakness or issues, we can eject money back to the top level vault, meaning there's no principal loss. Or if we, for example, what we now see in Bitcoin, which is kind of funny, there's a lot of these Bitcoin derivatives, Solve BTC, Lombard BTC, BTCB, Coffer BTC. It's crazy. There's so many right now. And I don't trust most of them, to be honest. But we can add them in our basket, and we can have like strategies for downside protection. So if any of these assets depegs, we can actually make money with that, right? So the beauty of this design, it's a very flexible architecture, holds multiple strategies, not only on layer 1. In the beginning, it's layer 1, but the architecture itself is designed to also have a strategy on Tyco, for example, or on Base, or on ZK Sync, or whatever chain will give us the highest yield on a certain asset or a certain liquidity pool. We can just automatically allocate there, go there, farm the yield, and then still have that layer 1 security, that high security guarantee, and sync back all the yields to this max LRT vault, right? So that's currently working. Before I jump into the Nest AI and the AI element of this, any question? Oh, feeling bullish. Yeah, I love it. Amazing. Yeah, cool. Okay, then I'm gonna continue. So I hope everybody follows so far, right? And the way that we do this is because we use a coprocessor. This is kind of like a new innovation, right? The most difficult part of like getting this architecture to work is syncing the state, syncing the accounting, right? So I actually have managed 2 different funds in the past, quite big crypto funds, as I said, like Cyber Capital, DeFi Capital. I was managing hundreds of millions of dollars in a traditional fund structure. In a traditional fund structure, you also basically have similar to this. You have a bunch of people that give you money, and then you need to allocate that to crypto assets, right? So they give you the mandate, they give you money. Okay, Amadeo, here's money. You know more about crypto than me. Here, please manage my money and give me more money back, right? Okay, sure, right? But that's in a centralized structure. In a centralized structure, you have something called net asset value, right? You have accounting. You have a ledger of like, let's say we have 100 investors, we have $100 million, and each investor has $1 million, whatever, right? Like as an example. Then you know that each investor has a certain amount of shares. And in a traditional fund, what you do when investors want to go out or in, you have redemptions. You have issues, and you issue shares and you redeem people. You issue shares for new people to come in, and people can redeem shares by sending the shares back and getting the money out, right? And in a traditional fund, in traditional finance, this is a very slow process, right? So I don't know anybody that maybe people have already experienced this. If you ever invested in a hedge fund or in some sort of a money market fund, you will see that, oh, you put your money in, but then to get your money out, you have to wait 3 months, right? Or you have to, I have invested in this fund somewhere, and then it does actually pretty well, but when I get my money back, I first get 25% back, and then I have to wait each month to get the rest 25. They all play pretty annoying games, but it's all because it's really hard, right? Like for traditional funds to sync the state and to sync the accounting between a underlying asset and the user share, it's really difficult. So they only do that once a month and they close the books, etc. In crypto, to make it instant and to make it 24/7, issue, redeem, it has to happen every block, right? So every block, we need to know exactly the value of each underlying strategy, and that all needs to be accounted perfectly, right? So that is a challenge that we overcome by using coprocessors, using kind of provable data feeds, right? And this also goes a little bit back into eigenlayer and restaking. My original vision was always, I want to build these kind of structured products because I think this is very cool, right? And I always thought, okay, I can this allocate and redeem, this is all kind of easy to do, but the difficult part is this middle thing in between that constantly communicates and tells the MaxLRT what is the assets you have under management, right? That's very, very complex to build. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I can build that. That's very complex. There's a lot of open questions on how to do that. But luckily, because of this new innovation in coprocessors and the off-chain compute and the provability of these price feeds, we can actually do that. This is a new innovation because of other things that progressed, right? And I was hoping to use the eigenlayer stack to kind of say, all right, we sync all the strategy data, and then we have restake capital that restakes on the price feeds, for example, a little bit of eOracle is doing, for example. But none of that eigenlayer stack has delivered any code for me to actually build that. So that forced me, for better or for worse, to just build it in-house. And we did it. It's live. We managed to do it. So we built this whole architecture in-house. And we don't need eigenlayer for it. We just build it ourselves. So yeah, very bullish and optimistic about that. All right, I ranted a lot. I can talk many hours about... Thanks. I hope everybody follows what I'm saying. This is a lot of information. This is also recorded, so you can also look it back. But I hope I made that clear why we choose this direction. And also, we kind of got forced into pivoting into this, right? Because in my original vision, people here understand, I was building structured products with AVSs. Because I thought like, okay, all these yield strategies, all these DeFi protocols, they will probably be secured by restaking because it's cheaper than being secured by just the on-chain accounting, right? And like, yeah, and it's like that didn't really happen. So we got forced into doing that ourselves in-house, and we did. We managed to get it done, and even more, right? So this in itself, and actually before I move to the Nest AI element, this is kind of like here. This is what we built, and this is all live now, right? Then a part of that, like the whole AI agent boom, which is now dying a little bit, but there is something there, right? And it's accelerating at a crazy pace. Like, although the AI token prices are down, but the technology and everything behind it is up only. There is so much. It's hard to keep track of all the developments in AI, but we're doing it. We're with Nest AI that we deployed. I'm very happy that we did. Nest AI is it's not just a virtuals agent. Yes, it's on virtuals. It has a token, and it's just done by YieldNest to attract a whole
Use your fingerprints to unlock the.
Oh, sorry. My phone started to scream at me. So with Nest AI, we launched on virtuals to attract a whole new audience and to motivate other groups of people instead of people in the YieldNest community. We also wanted to see like, the virtuals is a whole new community. So we launched there, and from Nest AI perspective, Nest AI has a token, and the token just gets a snapshot, and you get the ynD tokens in return, and then the ynETHx itself is managing its own treasury, right? And the ynETHx itself will get the ynD airdrop, and the ynETHx itself, the treasury that's held in ynD, it will buy a little bit more maybe with this Nest tokens, and it will then hold it, and it maybe sells a little bit of ynD at some point, and buys it back. So it's kind of like this very slow moving kind of market maker and chiller. But besides that element, we trained ynETHx with a custom ELISA AI agent model, meaning that like you can launch a virtual agent with the game model. The game model is from virtuals itself, but it's not really advanced. What we did, we made a fully open custom model, and on the background, what we're now doing, we did also integrated safe, for better or worse. So safe is like Gnosis safe in the background, where ynETHx will have this kind of gated, for now, kind of chat window. And as a user, ynETHx will actually generate money for the YieldNest DAO treasury, right? Because from a user perspective, ynETHx is a DeFi agent. It's trained with a lot of data, and YieldNest itself uses ynETHx in its strategies. So ynETHx learns from that data input, so it becomes very, very smart over time. And that's how agents and safe. Yeah, but it's not. It's a safe infrastructure, a safe architecture. That's different than the safe GUI, right? So the problem with Bybit and Safe is they use the GUI. They use the graphical user interface of Safe, and that got hacked, right? The Safe smart contracts never got hacked. The Safe smart contracts are very good, right? So ynETHx uses Safe in the background to manage portfolios for people. So you will be able, if you hold a little bit of Nest tokens, you have your own ynETHx a DeFi agent that is going to manage your portfolio. So that generates money for the ynD token holders, right? So that's like a nice little sub-DAO. You know, it's not the main income for the protocol, but it's one of the elements, right? And what ynETHx also does for YieldNest, and it will train ynETHx more and more and more, and that's why agents will become valuable, right? Agents are valuable because of their data, right? An agent in itself is very easy to set up, right? But having an agent that has the right amount of data sets, the right amount of training data, that's the difficult part. And ynETHx has a lot of DeFi training data that it uses, right? And it helps people manage their portfolio in a hybrid way. So ynETHx has a safe account, and the ynETHx itself proposes transactions to users, and then users can either confirm or deny the Nest AI's recommendations, right? That is what we have built, and that is going live probably next week. It's a bit of alpha here, and a part of that, ynETHx internally uses. It's constantly looking for strategies. So ynETHx tells me, Amadeo, you should look into Spectra, for example, or Amadeo, you should look into this new. There's a new Bitcoin strategy that we're gonna build. It's still on BNB chain, right? But the ynBTCX, which is really cool to understand. So the BTC product that we're working on is going to be settled on Bitcoin layer 1 in combination with Hemi network, right? So we're still working on the max LRT BTC product, but in the meantime we have a bunch of other underlying strategies for Bitcoin that are already being released. And ynETHx found BitFi. BitFi is a way to earn around 8%. The current 7-day historical APY is like 8% on your Bitcoin, right? On BNB chain. So that the ynETHx finds that, proposes that to me, and then we have internal discussions, and then we either build them or not, right? So ynETHx is this kind of agent that gives us strategy input. And then at some point, when these strategies are really cool, we're enshrining these strategies into the main protocol, right? So that's how we will use ynETHx, and that's how we see ynETHx as kind of like the first sub-DAO from. That's how we see ynETHx as the first sub-DAO from the YieldNest decentralized autonomous organization. And eventually, if let's say any of these products reaches $100 million, which it will very soon, then these products will become their own sub-DAOs. The underlying strategy is not, but any of the max LSTs that reach $100 million will transform into the sub-DAO, where they will even become more powerful, more hardened, and yeah. So that's everything about that. I will drop this page in the chat, and I would love everybody to read it or let me know if there's any like more questions here. I'd love to answer. Max LST is the apex of yield generation. All right. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I hope what I'm saying is clear and everybody understands it. Then I'm gonna move to probably the most exciting, and most people are waiting to hear this, the YieldNest DAO and the vote escrowed YieldNest DAO tokenomics, right? Are we ready? Yes, okay. I need to see a thumbs up or a yes. Yes, hooray. Okay, thanks. Thank you, Hin. All right, moving forward, right? Okay. Yeah, so the YieldNest DAO token. YieldNest DAO token in itself does nothing. But, and this is also for regulatory reasons, etc., right? So the YieldNest DAO token itself is a tradable token that you can trade with one another, and it has a purpose, because the YieldNest DAO token will be able to stake into the protocol, right? When the YieldNest DAO token is staked into the protocol, you will be able to govern the YieldNest DAO protocol, but also you will be able to earn rewards, right? And you can see that right here. This is like the DAO, right? So you stake the YieldNest DAO token, you will get a token that is locked. So you can either choose, you stake your token and you get you basically get a locked NFT in return. And a locked NFT will give you governance power, and the power will go up linearly, right? So as you can see here, the power goes up in a linear line over 3 years. But instead of with Curve and other protocols where you stake and lock it for multiple years, this is model we wanted to change, right? So what we changed into this model is that when you stake your ynD token, you stake in it and you start to earn rewards of the protocol. And the longer you stake, the higher your voting power becomes. If you then decide, I want my, underlying tokens, I want my liquidity, the yield that it generates, okay, I had enough yield, I need that money back, right? Then the yield that's generated is automatically paid to you, and you can claim that yield. And then if you want to have your principal back, you can just unstake your token anytime you want, but there's a 30-day cooldown period. So you stake your token, your voting power goes up in a linear line over 3 years, so it's quite long. And then after, if you want your token back, you just unstake it, and there's a 30-day cooldown, and you get your tokens back and you can sell them, right? So this is super high level how that works. I will say a little bit more about that later. I kind of should probably start here, right? So that, how does the protocol generate money, right? Like the biggest question, right? Okay. So there's users deposit asset in YieldNest integrations, products, or sub-DAOs. So this could be users that are using NestAI that will generate money for the DAO, users that are using the Max MRT products to generate for the DAO, or users that are using any of the underlying strategies that will generate money for the DAO, right? Okay, all that money is then injected into these different strategies. There's gauges that will sprinkle rewards on the strategies directed by the DAO, and then all the money flows back to the users, and there's a small fee that YieldNest strategies take. The max strategies, top level itself, don't charge any fees, they're free. But when the money gets injected into a strategy, so when the money is working and making money for the user, we take a little bit of those rewards, of those fees, and we use that to power the DAO, to keep looking for new strategies, etc. So this is like the value generation flow. And you can see like the whole flow like here, right? And then I think I better probably do it like this. Like I think we're smart enough, right? I don't need to cut it open. So yeah, as I said, user comes in, deposit assets, different strategies and things to generate money. the LRT strategies generate a little money, and then the yield gets distributed to the user. Most of it goes back to the user, and then a little bit of that goes into a fee distributor, right? And that's dynamic per LRT strategy. So imagine that there could be quite advanced strategies that maybe take 20% of the fee. There could be very simple strategies. Right now, the strategies are relatively simple, right? YieldNest is kind of as a protocol, you know, we're not, at the end, we still have a lot of work to do, right, together. So right now the strategies are pretty simple, so we're not charging any fee at the moment, right? So, well, that's not true. ynETH has a little fee, and ynLSDe has a little fee. So YieldNest actually already generated over $100,000 in fees that generated from the different restaking products that have been built, right? And those fees right now, because we kind of put that into a bucket to just save in order for the ynD token goes live, and we buy back the ynD token and distribute, right? So this fee distribution, all these little blocks that you see in this illustration are all actually managed and operated by the DAO. You see that here in the dotted line, govern, right? So the fee distribution at start is a buyback mechanism. So in this case, we generated over $100,000, maybe less now because the price went down, right? But we generated over $100,000 in fees, and these fees are now, right, just sitting in ynETH itself, right? So just waiting to be to do something with for us, right? What we're gonna do with these fees is basically, and this is completely automated when our full stack goes live, we're buying back a little bit of the ynD tokens, making that the ynD token price goes up, and that is then distributed back to the VE-ynD holders, right? And VE-ynD holders get proportionally to their voting power, get fees distributed to them, right? And of course, like there's also a fee distribution split between the treasury and sub-DAOs, and this to the VE-ynD token holders. In the beginning, all the money is going to the VE-ynD token holders, right? Like everything I want to distribute to the VE-ynD token holders. I want to handsomely reward any person that is helping and supporting the YieldNest in any way. So all the money just goes back to the VE-ynD holders, right? Yeah, that's how it works. And then, so far, let me see if any questions. All clear. Great sales pitch. Oh, thanks guys. Thanks guys. Then, yeah, this is like how the fee distribution works, etc. But then, okay, on the ynD holder side, let's go on that angle, right? So the YieldNest DAO token holder has tokens, YieldNest DAO tokens. Then it stakes the tokens in the YieldNest DAO staking contract, and in return it gets vote escrowed YieldNest DAO tokens, right? So that's one pathway to do it. The second pathway to do it is to use a liquid locker. If you don't want to be actively manage these things yourself, you can say, well, you know, we work with StakeDAO, we work with Convex, and all these different protocols. They built liquid. They basically built liquid lockers, right? So, you know, Curve CRV has VE CRV, has CVX CRV, Y CRV, SD CRV, and YieldNest will have the same kind of setup where you can either choose to manage it yourself, so there's maybe bigger funds or other people that want to manage themselves or that are interested in that, or you can just delegate your token to StakeDAO, and then StakeDAO gets your voting power, and StakeDAO is then going to vote for you, right? So I hope this is like clear. With the one ynD is one VE-ynD, so it's 1-to-1, but over time your voting power goes up, and the rewards that are distributed to you as if you stake yourself, the rewards are, you can claim the rewards, right, and sell the ynD tokens or stake more ynD tokens to get your power go up. In the liquid locker, the rewards are auto-compounding, so you just earn more ynD, right? That's kind of the trade-off. And in the future, probably the liquid locker will give you an option like, oh, you have your liquid locker, you earn your yield in stablecoins or something like that, right? So that is then all being developed and being built. It's all this whole ecosystem, right? So you see here, one ynD is one VE-ynD, and the voting power scales linearly. VND ynD times the locker period is the ynD voting power. So I have one VE-ynD, I lock it for 1 I lock it for 12 months, then your voting power increases, right? Very simple. All right, then the ynD, I hope that's clear so far. Yeah, okay. Then, if you hold the vote escrow YieldNest tokens, you can actually start to vote. You can, this is like governed by Aragon, and Aragon is this very well-known governance platform. Then, as a Aragon holder, you will be able to vote on the fee distribution, you vote on the LRT strategy fees, you can vote, and supported by NestAI, that will, if you hold ynD, you can go into this portal, you can ask NestAI questions, it will propose strategies. You can vote on new integrations. So you can say like, well, I have this new product idea or that new product idea. You can propose that, vote on it, and things, you can get budgets for it and things get done. Gauges, and this is a very important one, right? So gauges, meaning that the community and everybody involved will be able to vote on different gates. In the beginning, that's just going to be liquidity pools. So let's say in the beginning, you can choose, well, YieldNest has a certain community allocation, right? We're actually distributing more than 50% to our community. Like it's a very, very high amount because we believe in the hive mind. We believe in our community. And then the community can vote on different gauges. Where are we going to distribute these rewards, right? And don't worry, if you just don't want to think about it, you can use the liquid lockers and earn all this reward, and liquid lockers will do that work for you, right? But if you vote on these gauges, you will have more ynD rewards on the YieldNest products. And then if you actually vote on those products, and if you hold the products yourself, you get a yield boost as well, right? So that is fantastic. And this is all going to go live probably in 2 weeks. We have been working on this for a long time. It's not just overnight, but this is in the works for a very, very long time. All right, and then the last thing that the stack can do is actually different strategies, right? So here it's like, oh, I propose new products, etc. And here you can say, I vote to externally integrate with Spectra, or I want to integrate with this protocol. And this is also, of course, governed by the DAO. Like YieldNest will not have full control over this. This is all done in a community-like fashion, right? Yeah, so this is most of a very, very fast and comprehensive overview of how that works. Let me link that right here for you guys. And here you go. So you can read all the information here. So ynD and ynD. And it's all pulled apart here, step by step, how it works, how we want to do it, right? Then we have the ynD parameters, and they're coming next week, right? So these are all the parameters I already leaked here, like the 30-day cooldown or the inflation rate and all those things. Token distribution coming soon. Like I can't wait to release it. I think everybody will be happy. Our goal is to give a good and fair airdrop and to incentivize users that are doing positive things for the protocol and airdrop, of course. But as you guys saw, there was an announcement from, you can probably link it in here, but there was an announcement and we are going to airdrop quite a nice chunk of the supply to the llamas, to the VCRV holders, to Leviathan News, to a lot of the OG blue chip DeFi protocols that we all love, right? So that's all very positive. Yeah, and then before I go to the questions and answers, it's almost already 7, but I will skip quick. This is the YieldNest roadmap. You can see everything that we're doing. Something that I didn't speak about is our stablecoin that we're going to release. That's going to work with all the YieldNest products. Amazing. And the rest I actually already talked about. So yeah, read this also for yourself and let me know if there's any feedback or comments. Yeah, that's it. I went on a very long rant and I do want to go over the questions. So yeah, let me know if there's any product questions so far. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. All right, so there's 16 questions. I cannot answer. Okay, wait. What if someone wants to bypass the cooldown period? Yeah, so in the beginning, you can either use a liquid locker, and a liquid locker you can actually always enter and exit. So liquid locker is something like CVX CRV or YCRV, where it's a derivative of VE CRV, right? So it's the same thing. You can enter the liquid locker and you can exit the liquid locker. What we're building, that's like how it starts at the beginning. What we're building besides that, after the TGE, we're going to also build a function to merge and split the NFTs. So you can then say, for example, if you really urgently want your ynD out, you can just dump it, but there might be a little bit of slippage. But in the future, we're going to make it so you can merge and split the NFTs, meaning that you can say you're sitting in the liquid locker, and you're like, I want to have my principal back. Then you can actually claim the NFT and you can go into cooldown period yourself. Or if you are in a VE ynD position NFT, you can actually send that NFT, that stake position, into the liquid locker, and then you get the liquid tokens and you can sell them directly, right? So it's a great it's a great input. Yeah, and that's something we're already working on. But from day one, that is not going to be live. So from day one, it's very important to understand if you stake your ynD tokens, there's a 30-day cooldown period, right? But you will get rewards. If you directly want to dump your airdrop, you just claim your ynD tokens and you sell them, right? So it's really up to. I want to make that very open for anybody involved, right? If the ynD token dumps, I just buy it back myself at some point, right? So, so yeah, that's fine. Okay, what if someone wants to bypass the cooldown? Yeah, we discussed that, right? Okay, cool. Let me go into the questions I got from the community. I got 16 questions. Amazing. I love it. I'm very quickly gonna go over them. You guys can still see my screen, right? Yeah. Oh no, you cannot. Let me actually close that. 1 second. Yeah, I'm just going over the questions from Patch. All right, question number 1. Can you give us a high-level overview of the TGE and why it's an important milestone for YieldNest? Yes. So I discussed this already extensively, but you know, our token generation event is not just like a pump and dump like kind of token moment. We want to get this governance stack out. We want to get smart people on board. We want to launch, and even if it's a bear market or even if the price goes down, like maybe even fine, because the people that are holding and staking their tokens, we know they are in for the long run, right? So we really want to see the price discovery on chain. We want to generate the token. We're ready for it. We've been working on this governance stack for a long time. We have the products ready, so we feel ready to launch a token that will actually help the system, right? Like we're ready for it. So we're ready. We're going to do it, and it's probably the date's probably going to be between the 20th and 30th. I want to do it in March, for better or for worse. I think it's going to be completely fine. So fingers crossed, guys. Many projects face challenges post TGE. What measures has YieldNest in place to ensure stability and long-term token holder value? Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think there's a big reason for this, right? So a lot of the token launches recently all have been just meme coins, and it's just what I talked about in the beginning of the soul, of the spirit, of the actual thing in the market. It's like a lot of project launch, and they don't really have a roadmap or anything like that. You can see the YieldNest roadmap very clearly in the docs that I just shared, and we are very excited. We are. For example, we have ynUSDx coming out very shortly after the TGE. So we're very excited. We're very excited about that. Very, very cool. Yeah, so I hope I answered that questions. Will there be any staking governance? Yeah. Question 3. Yeah, there will be staking. I talked about that extensively. I hope that's clear. But if there's any questions, please let me know in the chat. How will the TGE impact early adopters and community members? Any benefits for those participated early? Yes, 100%. If you're an early staker, if you have the Pioneer NFT, you will be handsomely rewarded. I actually anticipate, because YieldNest, you know, like I'm gonna tell a little bit of a story here, right? So we are now also getting a little bit more institutional money in, right, at some point. So the TVL is probably gonna jump to like 50 or 100 mil or something in that range. Let's see if those people come in or not, right? But like what's happening, eTRFi, Renzo, etc. They made a lot of these capital deals and they sold a lot of their tokens like to like insiders, etc. We didn't do that, right? So all the early people that are actually provide liquidity will be rewarded, right? So it's similar to how Hyperliquid did that, right? So Hyperliquid was a pretty small community. Similar to YieldNest is not the biggest community in crypto, right? But we're all pretty like it's a small but very nice community, and we will reward people, and people will get governance rights into the YieldNest DAO governance platform, right? And like if you're early, and if you're staking and if you have a lot of points, you will get a lot of the airdrop. And you know we're like it's bullish because like you know for EigenLayer or all these other protocols have $20 billion in TVL. It's obviously much more difficult. For us, it's more a boutique, like small community that we want to reward. So yeah, everybody will get rewarded. And I really, I mean, we will do another TGE. We're going to do another AMA before the TGE, of course. But yeah, everybody should be very open and communicate. Don't scream, because most bots that that most are bots. But if there's any issue, like my Telegram is open, everybody can message me. So like if there's any questions, like I'm super perceptive and responsive. I will teach you. What's the plan to token utility with YieldNest ecosystem? Does create value for holders? Yeah, I hope I explained the value for holders, right? What makes NestAI unique? Also answered NestAI question. I hope that's clear. But any specific things that I didn't mention, just please comment on that. What are some of the biggest milestones achieved so far Q1? Yeah, that's well. It's going to be our governance deployment. It's going to be our ynETH max LRT vaults that are live and much more, right? What are key product updates used by Commons? Yeah, so we are working on a stablecoin product, not our own stablecoin yet. That's coming in Q3 probably, Q3, Q4. But the ynUSDX, right? So we'll also have a stablecoin product out. I wish I could bring it out already, but doing a TGE also takes a lot of time. Being ready and everything is being prepped. We're gonna do our TGE, and then later we also will launch our own like stablecoin product. Yes, that's the key product. Can you spill any upcoming partnerships? Yeah, I mean Hemi partnership. We have a lot of really cool partnerships in the works. Tyco, we're pretty close with the base rollups. And yeah, we have so many partners currently, and they're all really amazing and helpful. How does the community play a role in shaping the future of YieldNest? Our governance? Yeah, we have governance plans and sub-DAO plans. Yeah, I hope I talked about that. Yeah, I think actually all the questions have been answered. So I went over all the questions, and I think I answered all of them in my long rant that I just gave before. Yeah, I can't wait for the stablecoin. Yeah, it's gonna be great, right? Like with stablecoins, it's always kind of like interesting because you can go to Aave and then that gives you 8%, but then you log in a week later and that 8% on Aave goes to only 3%, and then you see, oh, I have to go now to Euler. Euler is giving me 10% yield. Oh, Euler is not giving me. Oh, then I move it here, then I move it there, and this is all will be done for you with the ynUSDX products, right? So it's fantastic. Can you speak about the risk of protocol that have very high APR? Yeah. So yeah, risk. That's the thing, right? Like it's risk-adjusted returns, and that's the biggest difference, right? So you have protocols that give you your 1000% yield or that like that, and I think actually the market is already a little bit sobered from that, a little bit like, oh, okay, right? Because if you see like 1,000% yield, you know that there's probably a lot of risk somewhere, right? But YieldNest product, it's like the same, like it's like you have risk-adjusted returns, right? So we actually right now we have really good yields on our products because we're also subsidizing it a little bit with our own, money and stuff, and we're making sure to make a product super attractive to get more, users, to get more adoption. But eventually it's going to be risk-adjusted, right? So it's going to be not the highest yield, not the lowest yield, just good yields for people. You can set and forget and go on, right? And I think that's what we also need to do more in crypto. Crypto is very risky, but with certain stablecoin products, I have held certain stablecoin products for many years now, and it's going very great. It's functioning very well through all the market conditions. For example, Curve, CRV-USD, other products are very safe. And as Michael Agrov actually says, like as the DeFi industry, we need to get into security level of a nuclear plant, right? So a nuclear facility has a lot of security measures, as you can imagine, right? DeFi protocols should also have very, very high security measures, and YieldNest is, doing that to the max, I would say. So I would say like with all these yields, and as you said, Mr. Jumper, you said Sonic, for example. I got burned pretty heavily on FTM. Mr. Andre Cronje. I like Andre. I know Andre personally. I did an interview with Andre Cronje on my YouTube channel as well. Fantastic, pragmatic developer, I would say. But he did have some issues with past protocols that all got rocked, right? And somehow everybody in the market forgets that again. Like, I'm just a bit skeptical still on it, but I'm monitoring it, right? And I'm completely agnostic, so we're monitoring like all the Sonic strategies, Rings protocol, all these other protocols. I'm completely up to date on them. And what we will do is, for example, the ynETHx strategy or the stablecoin strategy. When you invest in ynUSD, you have layer 1 settlement assurances, and then we would go to Sonic to farm these high stablecoin yields there, right? But if anything goes wrong, you can rest assured that we are going to pull out and get it back to the max RT-vol. And obviously, there's always a risk involved there, but we are making sure that those risks are minimized. So because we're looking in the mempool, we're looking at like live data, what's happening. If we see any suspicious things, we would just withdraw, right? We would withdraw from the high yield Sonic strategy back to the layer 1 max LRT where it's safe, simple, and clean. And then we would go to like a strategy and go back, right? We are these little workers for you, and competing with Nest AI, we're going all over DeFi and collecting all the high yields for you and coming back to the main fold, right? So yeah, I hope that's clear, and let me know if there's any more questions. Be sure to also check the airdrop campaign where you can see all the different protocols that will get you an airdrop. So if you're already farming points, be sure to also check, like maybe you farm points, but you also have a llama NFT. I see a lot of llamas in the chat, so I'm very happy for that. Yeah, you get more airdrop, right? Or hold the NFT, right? Like, so these are all like the criterias, and we didn't snapshot yet, so there's still time to get in before the snapshot. So yeah, exciting times. Grind, yeah. Hard grind. Sure. Yeah, so that's been my rant. Thanks everyone for sharing the message that I just shared. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. Fantastic. I see BVM, I see Benagura, thank you. CO, thank you. 0x Valentine's. Nice, I'm gonna follow you back, 0x Valentine's. I will follow back everybody that shared the tweet that I've just shared, guys. Amazing. Mr. Francis. And Matrix, I also gotta follow Matrix back. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, follow everybody back that's sharing the tweet right now. Thanks, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, and for us, it's really important to have a strong community, right? Like, I'm now communicating all this information, and I think everybody in this AMA has now a enormous level up of knowledge in YieldNest, and we need you as a YieldNest army to the Nest army. I see Roy also joined the call. We definitely, similarly to the Chainlink Marines, we need to have some sort of a the YieldNest guardians or the Nest guardians or something like that. We need the community to destroy all the FOD. There's no FOD right now. Everything is going good, so there's nothing really going on. But obviously, when we do our TGE and when we start to launch this token, there will be people with a lot of my mind blowing. There will be a lot of people that are going to say things that are not true, or there will be a lot of people that maybe are confused about things. So I really need an army of people that, if anybody says something, just go in a discussion. You can just say the information that you can find in the docs. You can ask me. I want to give a special shout out on that, on the Miso jumper, right? There was a person in the community that had some critical thoughts, which is great. I really encourage that. I really want to have these discussions because I learned from that, right? If somebody's like, well, is YieldNest TGE ready? Right? And correct, like there were some, because we're working so hard in the background on so many things, sometimes some front-end things, we need to get updated, etc. We did that now. We updated all the risk reports in the right place, etc., etc. And Mr. Jumper, I want to give a special shout out to you and thank you for helping me and the YieldNest core contributors. You're now one of the YieldNest core contributors yourself because you're helping YieldNest to communicate because DeFi is still very complex. There's a lot of information. So all that information that's in my head and Roy's head or anybody of the YieldNest team, we need to find a way to translate that and easier to understand info. For example, the Avela research that, thank you. The Avela research article that I shared, right? That Alea research article that I shared. That article is great, but of course not everybody has time to read that. But it is a good article because if you read that article, you will learn something about DeFi. You will learn something about restaking. You're becoming more financial literate. So it's a good thing for your brain. It's a good thing for yourself, and you can then take that information and very easy to read, right? Like you can take that information and you can like if people have questions in the community, you can help us, right? And then eventually, with these sub DAOs, you will be able to work for the DAO, right? And that's my whole philosophy as well. But I think that with these hive minds, with these groups of people, we will be able to create hives like beehives or whole groups of people that can all come in and help each other like to grow this protocol, and then we will be all become better out of it, right? So if we all work together, we can make YieldNest great for everybody involved. All right, as you can see in my background, it's getting quite late here. I'm gonna sign off. It was a fantastic AMA. I'm very grateful and happy for everybody that joined. I'm very grateful and happy for all the YieldNest community members, and I will want to encourage everyone to join next time. I'm gonna do more of these AMAs in the future, and thanks you everybody for your valuable time, and speak to everybody soon. Thank you so much. Yeah, Patch, it's recorded, I hope, because this was a very good AMA. I think I was in a very good flow. Let's make sure to... Okay, amazing. Thank you, Patch. Also, big shout out to Patch, our amazing community manager. All right. Yeah, Patch is amazing. Thank you, Patch. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Well, maybe in 2 weeks, Patch. I think we want to do an AMA in 2 weeks. Yeah, because, we're getting soon. Let's plan the next AMA in 2 weeks. Good. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye bye. Yeah, see you 2 weeks. Bye bye.